Hi, I'm Sam. I'm a software engineer, and this is a video about how to pass the Spark uh, Databricks Apache Spark the Databricks Certified Apache Spark Developer Exam. And here's their homepage, databricks.com. And to find the exam section, go to the bottom and click on certification. And from here, I took the first exam, the one on top. Now, this video is about how you can pass the Spark Certified Developer Exam. And I have tips for exam preparation as well as for actually taking the exam. So I want to just begin with a few resources, and the hub of your resources is going to be the official exam page. And it's got everything you need to know, and it basically emphasizes you need to know the data frame API, and that includes filtering, dropping, renaming, aggregating data, reading and writing, so on. And this is all stuff that you're probably familiar with if you know Spark at all. If you're like me, you scoured the internet looking for practice tests and you couldn't find any. This test isn't like AWS. There's not a lot of people who've taken it, not a lot of information, not a lot of practice tests. So this video is about how you can best prepare for the exam. Oh, here's the score I got, almost a 92. And so I'll walk you through exactly how I prepared for this so that you can get a similar score. And now the exam takes up about 2 hours. It's 60 questions, and you can miss up to 18 and still pass the exam. So what I would recommend, as far as resources goes, is this Udemy course. First and foremost, it is a great introduction to Spark if you have no familiarity with it. It's the Scala version of Spark, not Python. However, the syntax for Scala here is really not that difficult. This course actually gives you more than you need to know. So you only need the data frames API to pass the exam. Technically, a little Spark SQL will help, but the data sets in the low-level Spark sections of the course are fantastic as well. The next resource I'd recommend is this website on the basics of the Spark hierarchy and so on. Jobs, stages, and tasks, and shuffles. These are things that are pretty fundamental to how Spark works, and I would really suggest just taking the time to peer over this website and get just a basic sense of how these things relate to each other. And I would also look into what a Spark is, what a slot is, because there's not a lot of information on this page about that. This website on job tuning, it could help you with a few questions without giving away too much. However, I would just expect to miss the questions on job tuning, garbage collection, and that sort of thing. It won't hurt you. As I said, you can miss up to 18 questions and still pass. And I'm pretty sure, well, anyway. So, and then in addition, what I did to practice was using the data sets taken from this class. So the CSV files, the JSON files, and so on. I would just go beyond the assignments that he gives and come up with my own research questions about the data. So, I wonder who the 10 highest grossing directors are in the movies.json dataset. So starting with a blank Scala object, I would go through the entire process of reading in the data frame, printing a schema, selecting certain columns and stuff, and just kind of finagling it until I got what I wanted from my queries. And so that process was pretty involved, and I ended up with a lot of stack traces and errors and so on. But it was a great learning experience. And I think that if you use that approach in conjunction with the official documentation for Spark, that you'd be golden for passing the exam. So the exam actually gives you the entirety of the Spark documentation in PDF format, and what you really need to focus on is this particular package, Org Apache Spark SQL. They'll give you everything, ML, structured streaming, anything you can think of from Spark is in there. The PDF they give you is not searchable, and you can't even use Command F. So take the time to familiarize yourself with how this is organized. Look up functions that you use a lot. Just look over it and notice the functions you don't recognize too. Not just the functions, but the methods, particularly of the dataset API. So this class, as I said, you don't need to know datasets for the exam in terms of the idea of a dataset as an object you can manipulate using native Scala syntax. Focus on is that a data frame is a dataset of type row. So all of the stuff that's specific to, well, even stuff that's not specific to dataset of type row might help you, such as cache, collect is called on an object. But just get familiar with how to find your way around this documentation. Try to understand what it means, the syntax things mean. Notice the functions you're not familiar with, and make sure you understand basically just how to navigate it, because there'll be a lot of syntaxy things you should know, and they probably don't expect you to keep it all in your brain, which is why they give you the entire documentation. So just get familiar with it. And then with that, I'll begin my test taking tips. And primarily for test taking, I advise two different strategies, maybe three. One is to finish all 60 questions before you open the documentation. See what you know, get it out of your brain, and then as you're going through, mark the questions you don't know or you've taken a guess on for review. And then finally, when you reach the end, you'll come back and you'll take a look at all the questions you've either marked for review or not marked for review, and you can start going through those and pick out the ones that you can use the documentation to answer. So if it's a question on syntax, go through those, figure out if you can find them in the documentation and answer them that way, and then move on to the ones that you probably just have to guess on, the more conceptual type questions that you need to know. And as far as the first sweep through you make through the exam, I would suggest noting down any functions that you don't recognize or things you're uncertain about in the note-taking section they give you. So you're not allowed to use pen and paper on the exam, but they do give you a little text box underneath the documentation just to make a note of, question number 7 has the drop method in it, and it's being called in an unfamiliar way to me. And then that way, when you make your second sweep through and you're actually looking at the documentation, you have a good library of what you're confused about. And if you happen to skim over one of those methods, you can know what page number it's on, and maybe you can even answer it. So I can't really think of any tips, any more tips at this point. Don't drink too much coffee before the exam. It's discouraged for you to go to the bathroom during it. I actually know someone who took their laptop to the bathroom with them during the exam. I would suggest just emptying your bladder, sitting down a few minutes early. You'll have to set up some software to get going so that they recognize your face and so on. I don't want to give too many cheats away about what's on the exam specifically, but if you use the resources I gave you, you'll be a little less blindfolded than I was going in, and I managed to pass with a pretty good score, so I think you can do it too, given the advice that's in this video. And so I hope this has helped you. If you're preparing for the exam or anyone else you know is preparing, please give the video a like, pass it on. Hopefully it can help some more people. This is a great technology to learn, and it's actually a lot of fun to use as well. I want to thank the author of this course. I won't try to pronounce his name, but his last name, but his first name's Daniel. It's a fantastic course. It's very finishable, and it's a great resource for this. So if it's on sale for $10, why not buy it? Anyway, I hope you liked the video, and good luck on your exam.